Having participated in both Dell Tech World and HPE Discover this year, I am constantly asked to compare the two. So let's do this properly and rate the two category by category. Hi, it's Marcus here again. Here we discuss everything about enterprise technologies from bare metal to cloud native. Glad to see you joined us. Before we get started, let's quickly talk about these events in general. Both Dell Technologies World and HPE Discover are customer and partner-focused events, organized once a year in May and June, respectively. At these events, both companies announce lots of new products and services, showcase them with live demonstrations, provide trainings, meetings, breakout sessions, and of course, all sorts of entertainment for the audience. They do all this together with their sponsors and partners whose stands are also there on the main floor. Both events took place this year at the same venue, the Venetian Hotel Complex, in the same exhibition halls. HPE will continue at the Venetian, but Dell Technologies World will move to Mandalay Bay for next year. Dell Tech World was a bit longer at 3.5 days, while HPE Discover was 2.5 days. Ticket prices are around $2,000 for both events, unless you are invited as a customer, partner, or some other collaborator. If you want to stay at the event venue, the Venetian, you can add about $350 per night to that. And of course, on top of that, flights. Just FYI, no one sponsored me this year, so I paid myself to both events, traveling for 30 hours from Finland, one direction. And that's as much as I want to remind myself about expenses part or the traveling bit. So my categories are attendance, exhibition setup, quality of sessions, announcements, and finally closing party. Full disclaimer. As you might have noticed, I've been involved with HPE throughout my career much more than with Dell, and I know their business much better, plus a lot more people from HPE and their partner network. But I will try my best to award points to these categories objectively without too much biases. So first, attendance. And by that I mean the number of attendees, or rather the feel of it. While I don't know the official number of attendees at Dell Tech World, it felt that there definitely was more people at Dell Tech World. At HPE Discover, there was over 8,000 people according to Antonio Neri. But at Dell Technologies World, there's also end-user devices and consumer electronics, so the exhibition area was a bit larger. Overall, everything felt quite comparable. So this will have to be a tie. 1 point each. Exhibition setup. This is easy to compare since both were arranged in the same venue, in the exact same exhibition halls. Dell takes this one hands down. Don't get me wrong, Discover's setup was awesome, but there was so much of everything at Dell Tech World. Especially the relaxation area called The Village was amazing. It made the participants stay in the Dell Tech World area instead of disappearing in the room or on the Las Vegas Strip. The setup was so impressive that I have to award 1 point plus an extra half point to Dell. Next, quality of sessions. This is another tough one since the two events were actually quite different. I felt that the general Dell breakout sessions were a bit repetitive, but their keynotes and guest speakers were awesome, with Neil deGrasse Tyson, Matthew McConaughey, and others. On the other hand, all HPE Discover sessions I participated in were really captivating and not repetitive at all. They clearly put effort in at least changing the graphics on the slides, even if the message was the same. So, a point for both, but I will have to give another bonus quarter point for Dell, just for inviting Neil deGrasse Tyson. Then to the announcements. This is a big one. I was expecting a plethora of major Apex announcements from Dell, but instead they announced just a couple of them, plus then some new storage array features and partnerships. On the other hand, HPE came in with a bang. Keynote was all about GreenLake, show floor, GreenLake from different angles, announcements, GreenLake here, GreenLake there, GreenLake everywhere. 12 new GreenLake service announcements cemented their strategy deep in the bedrock. This point definitely goes to HPE from me, and I have to award HPE an extra quarter point for their courage to yank it what comes to executing their Green Lake strategy. Alright, we have only one category left, and it's 3.75 against 3.25, which means Weezer and Janet Jackson will ultimately decide which event was better. Let's do this. So, closing party. Dell Customer Appreciation Party was tons of fun. There were lays, blinking eyeglasses, good food and drinks, and the main attraction was Weezer. HPE Discover Celebration Party was equally fun. There were fancy dinners, arcade games, food and drinks, and Janet Jackson. I will be the first to admit I was not so ecstatic when I saw that the artist is Janet Jackson. I mean, who is she again? But she knocked it out of the park. From the first tunes and first dance moves, it was 1999 again. She absolutely killed it. It was an awesome concert with hall full of jumping and dancing people. Only because of Janet Jackson, this category has to go to HPE Discover plus 1 point. But it would be wrong of me not to grant Dell also a half a point for an amazing party. So, the final score is 4.25 to 4.25. I know, I'm being boring here, but quite honestly, I really can't make a difference between these two events. They were, on the other hand, quite different, but still equally impressive. I just simply love the feeling of all these huge tech events surrounded by other tech enthusiasts. So, a tie. Sorry. What comes to my personal experience, HPE Discover 2022 was phenomenal. It was amazing to be back at HPE Discover after my first time in 2019, just before the pandemic, and see all those familiar faces in person again. What's more, I was blown away by the amount of support I got for my videos. Thank you everyone who I had a pleasure to have a chat with. You guys keep this channel going. So yes, HPE Discover 2022 was very special for me. Until the next events.